Well, hey, everybody, it's Barry Kleiman, revisiting LinkedIn's 26 most asked interview questions. This is the 14th one that we'll have covered. And the question is, can you explain a gap in your employment? This obviously doesn't relate to every single person, but it is a question that obviously gets asked a lot. According to LinkedIn, it's very, very high up in the list of most asked questions. And before I give you my answer, first of all, context, 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 right? But here's something for you to think about, and the answer that's on the I'm sorry, the comment that's on the thumbnail sketch, I think addresses it very well. What do you think people are trying to figure out when they ask you this question? It could be, did you get fired and couldn't get a job? It could be, even if you left something voluntarily, are you rusty and are not ready to jump back into the fray? Um, it's hard to figure out. I wrote this before the other day. You don't know what you don't know, but you do know what you do know. And what does that mean? It means it's hard to figure out what their motive is, right? As far as why does this matter to them? It's a very fair question. So if you've been watching any of these videos at all, you're gonna know what I'm about to say is tell the truth, right? Get out a pencil and figure out how you want to explain why you do have a gap in your employment and what you've been doing in between. Because I think it's a very fair comment that even if you left for um, maternity leave, whether you're the male or the female, right? Even if you left um, some type of family situation or burnt out, um, we're all human. One of the things I encourage people to do all the time, new clients, is think differently about themselves and their value in the world and honor their time. Um, I've said this often, but the best interviews are conversations, not interrogations. If you can turn this into a conversation, as David Ogilvy says, tell the truth, but make the truth fascinating. Tell me why. Tell me why you decided that to take a break, or what happened that made you take a break, what you've been doing in between, and why you're ready, willing, and eager to get back to work, and how your eagerness and your readiness and your willingness will benefit the other side. Everybody wants to know what's in it for me, as do you. Everybody wants to know. This is human nature. I talk about this quite a bit in the book we're trying to get finished here, Successful Interviewing. Um, Human nature is involved in every single one of these exchanges of information, conversations, right? And people are wary. People want to know, again, are you being honest? How can you help them? You're in that interview trying to find the same thing. Does this job suit your parameters? When I say to think differently about yourself, what I mean is, if you take the position of your time matters as well, which of course it does, not in an arrogant way, but in a way that basically says, I don't want this job any more than you want to hire me unless there's a win in it for both of us. Um, I only want to find a job that, where I know I can add value. And of course, that it benefits my life and my time as well. This is not indentured servitude. It is, again, a win win relationship if you can make people understand that that's what you're looking for. Um, if the people on the other side of the desk are looking at it as lose win, you lose, they win, I think it's a horrible horrible premise. There are plenty of jobs around where you can earn a living in a transitional environment. Not to knock flipping burgers, but there are ways to make a living. Um, but if you're trying to build your career and you've taken a break from work or whatever your reason is, as you make this transition, again, I beg you to think differently about yourself. This is my battle with everybody. Um, you can find a job. I mean, you can. Um, the idea, and again, purpose of life is to live a life of purpose. I beg people to think differently about themselves and again about their time and how they bring value to a company and how the value can in some ways come back the other way. Monetarily, of course, we all work for money. But again, at the same time, to find something beyond that. And I think when you do that and you position yourself in that way that, look, I'll bend over backwards to do anything I can to make uh, me a valued employee, but I also value, you know, myself and my time and my family and all those things. Some people won't like that. They don't want you to value your time. They don't want you to value yourself. They just want you to, again, come in there and be subservient. You can do that. The work that I do with people is to suggest to them that there are many, many fish in the sea. Fortunately, we are not in the Great Depression, and there are many jobs out there. You have to take the time to look. You have to take the time to filter through. You have to take the time to really know what you want to happen. And again, put it out there as here's what I am looking for. Here's how I can help the people I'm looking for. And again, look at yourself and value yourself differently, more than just a simple commodity. If that sort of dogma or positioning doesn't work for you, I get it. But I think the work that I do would be completely unfulfilling, even if people pay me, if I can't convince them to think of themselves differently and value themselves more than just a peg to fill a hole. So, sorry for a little long diatribe, but when you look at these questions, you have to say, look, be honest, tell the truth, and say, for whatever the reason was that you left, just make sure that you also follow up with a story of where I am now at this point in my life. I am fresh and ready to go and really eager to find a position that will give me X, Y, Z. Last thing about it, the interviewer may not like that. They may not. Um, if you're less than forthright and you, pardon me, talk yourself into a job that winds up being just a complete mismatch, square peg, round hole. You try to bang a square peg into a round hole, you might ultimately get it in, but you're going to shatter the peg. I don't want you to get shattered. I'm trying to help people find fits for themselves and, of course, for the company. Win-win, win-win, win-win. So when you try to answer questions like this, that's what I would say. Be 100% honest, but give people a reason why on the back end of this gap, what you're ready, willing, and eager to do now and how you're willing to do it. Effort, energy, enthusiasm, commitment, and all these things. You just want to make sure that the fit is the fit. So think differently about yourselves, everybody. I mean, again, I don't have to live your lives for you, of course. I have to live my own. But all of these videos I'm making, every single one of them, at the end of the day, they're made for the purpose of asking you to think differently about yourself, to think differently about this process, to think differently about your time on the planet and how you can maximize it. And of course, add value, help other people along the way. That's why I'm doing these videos, just trying to add some value. So, as I said before, that's my story and I'm sticking to it. Write down on a piece of paper why you left your last job and what you've learned from it and what you are committed to do moving forward? That's a good answer to that question. I hope this helped everybody. Stay safe.